The sun was rising over Lagos when Kofi Mensah arrived at the Ashanti Holdings building. The glass tower stood tall in the center of Victoria Island, shining like a diamond in the morning light. Kofi had worked at this company for 10 years. He knew every floor, every office, and every person who worked here. He had come up from nothing and worked hard every single day to reach his position. Now, at 32 years old, he was the operations director. He was proud of this. His family was proud of this. But today felt different. Kofi stepped out of the elevator on the 46th floor. This was where his office was. He walked past the big windows that showed the city below. He could see the ocean in the distance. He had always loved this view. But today he did not stop to look at it. He was thinking about something else. He was thinking about the meeting that had happened yesterday. The meeting about the CFO job. For 3 years, Kofi had been working hard to get this job. The CFO was the Chief Financial Officer. It was a very important job in the company. Kofi had prepared for it. He had learned everything he needed to know. He had shown his boss, Victor Adeyemi, that he was ready. Victor Adeyemi was the CEO of the company. He was also Kofi's father-in-law. Kofi had married Victor's daughter, Zara, 5 years ago. It had been a beautiful wedding. Everyone was happy. But now, Kofi was not sure if he was still happy. Yesterday, Victor had told him the news. The CFO job had gone to someone else. The person was Richard. Richard was Victor's nephew. He was 28 years old. He did not have as much experience as Kofi. He did not know the business as well as Kofi. But Richard was family. That was the only reason he got the job. Kofi understood this, but it hurt him very much. When Kofi came home that evening, he did not tell Zara what happened. He thought maybe Victor would tell her first. Maybe it was better that way. But Zara was his wife. She should know. When he walked into their penthouse apartment, Zara was sitting on the sofa. She was reading a book. She looked beautiful, but she did not smile when she saw him. She just looked at him. "How was your day?" Zara asked him. Her voice was soft but cold. It was not the warm voice she used to have. Kofi sat down next to her. He wanted to tell her everything. He wanted to tell her that he felt like he was not good enough. He wanted to tell her that he was hurt. But he could not find the words. So he just said, "It was okay." "How was yours?" Zara did not answer. She just turned away and looked back at her book. The silence between them was very loud. The next morning, Kofi went to the office early. He wanted to be there before everyone else. He had a big board meeting at 10 o'clock. This was when the company's leaders met together to talk about the business. Kofi had prepared a new plan. It was about how to save money in the company. He had worked on it for many weeks. He was excited to show his plan to everyone. Maybe this would prove that he was still valuable. Maybe this would show Victor that Kofi was still important. At 10 o'clock, Kofi walked into the big boardroom on the 47th floor. This was the most important room in the company. The walls were made of wood. The table was very long and made of dark brown material. The windows showed the whole city of Lagos below. 20 people were sitting around the table. They were all waiting for the meeting to start. Kofi saw Victor sitting at the head of the table. Victor looked at him, but he did not smile. Kofi started to talk about his new plan. He showed the numbers on the big screen. He explained how they could save money without hurting the company. He talked about which parts of the business were not working well. He said what they should do to fix these problems. His voice was strong and clear. He believed in what he was saying. He knew this plan was good for the company. But then something strange happened. Victor was not looking at the screen. He was looking at Kofi. He was not looking with kind eyes. He was looking like he was studying Kofi. Like he was trying to find something wrong with him. Kofi tried not to think about this. He continued with his presentation. But he could feel Victor's eyes on him the whole time. It made him very nervous. When Kofi finished, nobody said anything for a long time. Then Richard stood up. He said, "I do not think this plan is good." But he did not say why. He just said it did not work. Then other people started to say things against the plan too. People who usually supported Kofi. People who he thought were his friends. They all started to speak against him. It was like they were waiting for someone to start and then they all followed. Kofi realized something was happening. Something bad was happening. After the meeting ended, people did not talk to Kofi like they usually did. Usually, people would come to his office and ask him questions. They would ask for his help. But now they walked past him without saying hello. They looked at their phones when he passed by. His friend Tund, who worked in marketing, usually had lunch with him every day. Today, Tund was eating with someone else. Kofi felt very alone. That afternoon, Kofi was sitting at his desk. He was trying to work, but he could not think. His phone made a sound. A message came from Victor's secretary. It said, "Mr. Victor wants to see you. Emergency board meeting at 6 p.m. on the 47th floor." Kofi read it 3 times. Emergency meeting? But they just had a meeting this morning. What was happening? Kofi's hands started to shake. He did not know why, but he felt afraid. Something was wrong. Something very wrong was about to happen. He looked out his window at the city below. The sun was starting to go down. The sky was turning orange and pink. It was a beautiful view, but Kofi could not enjoy it. His heart was beating very fast. He knew that his life was about to change. He just did not know how much. Kofi checked the time on his computer. It was 5:30 p.m. He had 30 minutes before the meeting. 30 minutes before everything changed. He put his head in his hands and closed his eyes. He thought about his wife Sarah. He thought about how she had not smiled at him in days. He thought about how his father-in-law Victor was looking at him with cold eyes. He thought about all the people at work who were now avoiding him. And he wondered what was going to happen in 30 minutes. He wondered if his life would ever be the same again. The clock on the wall kept moving. 5:35. 5:40. 5:45. Kofi stood up from his desk. He took a deep breath. He picked up his phone and his keys. Then he walked slowly toward the elevator. He did not know what was waiting for him on the 47th floor. But he knew it would be something that would change everything. He pressed the button for the elevator. The doors opened. And Kofi Mensah walked in, ready to meet his fate. The elevator doors opened on the 47th floor. Kofi stepped out slowly. His legs felt heavy. His heart was beating so fast he could hear it in his ears. The boardroom was at the end of the long hallway. The lights were bright. Everything looked very clear and sharp. Kofi had been to this room many times before. But today it felt different. It felt like a place where something bad was going to happen. He walked down the hallway. His shoes made sounds on the floor with each step. Click, click, click. He could see people inside the boardroom through the glass walls. They were sitting around the long table. They were waiting for him. When Kofi reached the door, he took one more deep breath. Then he pushed it open and walked inside. Victor was sitting at the head of the table. He was looking at some papers. He did not look up when Kofi came in. Around the table were all the important people from the company. The head of marketing. The head of sales. The head of human resources. Richard was sitting next to Victor. He had a small smile on his face. Kofi did not like that smile. "Sit down, Kofi," Victor said without looking at him. His voice was cold and hard like ice. Kofi pulled out a chair and sat down. He looked at the faces around the table. Nobody was smiling. Nobody was looking at him with kind eyes. They were all looking at him like he was a stranger. Like he was someone they did not know. Victor finally looked up from his papers. His eyes were very cold. They were nothing like the eyes of a father-in-law. They were the eyes of an enemy. "Kofi, we have discovered some very serious things about you," Victor said slowly. He spoke each word with care, like he wanted each word to hurt. "We know that you have been leaking our company secrets to our competitors. We know that you have been trying to hurt this business. We know that you have been trying to hurt this family." Kofi's body went cold. "What? That is not true," he said. His voice was shaking. "I would never do that. Never. You know me, Victor. You know I would never." "I do not want to hear it," Victor said, cutting him off. His voice got louder. "You have betrayed us. You have betrayed this company. You have betrayed your wife's family. For this reason you are fired. Effective immediately. You will leave this building today. You will not come back. Your severance is gone. You will get nothing. Nothing. Do you understand me?" The words hit Kofi like a punch. He could not breathe. This was not real. This could not be real. "Victor, please. There is a mistake. I have never leaked anything. This is false. You must believe me. Let me explain. Let me show you." "Security will take you to collect your things," Victor said. He was not listening. He turned away and looked at his papers again, like Kofi was not even there anymore. Like Kofi did not matter. Kofi sat there, unable to move. The room was very quiet. Everyone was looking at him. He felt like he was falling. He felt like the ground was disappearing beneath him. His job was gone. His money was gone. His name was gone. Everything he had worked for, everything he had built, it was all gone. Then something happened. A young woman stood up. Her name was Bukola. She worked in operations under Kofi. She was one of the smartest people in the company. Kofi had helped her become better at her job. He had taught her many things. Now she was standing up and looking at Victor. "This is wrong," Bukola said. Her voice was calm but strong. "Kofi is one of the best people in this company. I work with him every day. He would never do this. He is honest. He is good. I do not believe these lies. Sit down, Victor said. He did not even look at her. No, Bukola said. I will not sit down. If Kofi is leaving, then I am leaving too. She turned to Kofi and nodded. Then she walked toward the door. For a moment, nothing happened. Then another person stood up. It was David, who worked in finance. I am leaving too, he said. He did not say anything else. He just left. Then another person stood up. Then another. Then another. People were leaving the table one by one. Some of them looked scared. Some of them looked angry. But they were all standing up. They were all leaving. Victor's face was turning red. Then purple. He stood up from his chair. What are you doing? He shouted. You are all crazy. Sit down. Sit down right now. But nobody listened. They kept walking toward the door. Kofi counted them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. More and more people were leaving. 10, 15, 20. By the time they stopped, 22 people had stood up and left the room. 22 people who worked with Kofi. 22 people who believed in him. Richard was shocked. His face was white. He was looking at his uncle Victor like he did not know what to do. All the people who had been against Kofi at the morning meeting, they were gone now. The boardroom felt empty. Kofi stood up slowly. His legs were still shaking, but now it was different. Now he did not feel alone. He looked at Victor one more time. Victor's face was so angry that it looked like his head was going to explode. Then Kofi turned and walked toward the door. Bukola was waiting for him in the hallway. All 22 of them were standing there. They were quiet. They were waiting for him. Kofi looked at all their faces. He saw Tun from marketing. He saw Amara, the young woman he had mentored for 2 years. She was the first one to leave the meeting. She had stood up before anyone else. She believed in him. Thank you, Kofi said. His voice was very quiet. Thank you all. You did not have to do this. Yes, we did, Bukola said. You helped us. You taught us. You believed in us. We believe in you. They walked together toward the elevator. Kofi could hear Victor still shouting inside the boardroom. He could hear Victor's voice getting smaller and smaller as they walked away. The words did not matter anymore. The anger did not matter anymore. As they walked past the corridor that led to the front offices, Kofi saw someone standing there. It was Zara. Her eyes were red. Tears were running down her face. She was looking at Kofi. She was looking at the 22 people following him. She was looking like she did not know what was happening. Like she did not know who to believe. Like her heart was being torn in two. Kofi wanted to go to her. He wanted to hold her. But he could not. This was not the time. He just looked at her for a moment. Then he looked away and kept walking with his friends. The elevator doors opened. Kofi and the 22 people got inside together. As the elevator went down, Kofi looked up at the numbers. 47. 46. 45. With each number he felt something changing inside him. Something breaking. But something else was also growing. Something stronger. Something new. When the elevator reached the bottom, the doors opened. Kofi walked out first into the lobby. 22 people walked out behind him. They were all together. They were all leaving. They were all starting something new. Outside the sun was setting. The sky was orange and red. The city lights were starting to turn on. Kofi stood on the street in front of the big building. He was no longer the operations director of Ashanti Holdings. He was no longer the son-in-law of Victor Adeyemi. He was just Kofi Mensah. And he had 22 people who believed in him. That was enough. That was more than enough. That was everything. Kofi did not go home that night. He could not face Zara. He did not know what to say to her. Instead, he went to Bukola's apartment. Bukola lived in a small place in Lekki. She had extra space and she told Kofi he could sleep there. Kofi sat on her sofa all night. He did not sleep. He just sat and thought about everything that had happened. At 2 in the morning his phone rang. It was Zara. Her voice was angry and scared at the same time. Where are you? She asked. Victor told me what you did. He told me you leaked company secrets. He told me you betrayed the family. Where are you, Kofi? I need to see you. Kofi's heart broke when he heard her voice. Zara, it is not true. Victor is lying. He made it all up. I did not leak anything. Please believe me. I do not know what to believe, Zara said. She was crying now. My father would not lie to me. But you are not here. You are hiding somewhere. If you did not do anything wrong, why are you hiding? I am not hiding. I needed time to think. Can I come home? Can we talk? No, Zara said. Her voice was cold now. I am going to stay at my parents' house for a while. I need to think too. I need to understand what is happening. Do not call me. The phone went dead. Kofi held it in his hand for a long time. Bukola came out of her bedroom. She had heard everything. She made Kofi tea and sat with him. They did not talk much. There was nothing to say. The next morning, Kofi called a lawyer. Her name was Amma. She was a very smart woman who worked at a big law office. Kofi explained everything to her. He told her about the CFO job that went to Richard. He told her about being fired. He told her about the false accusation of leaking secrets. Amma listened carefully. She asked many questions. Then she said, "This sounds like a lie. I will help you. I will investigate. I will find the truth." For 2 weeks, Amma worked very hard. She looked at all the company emails. She looked at all the records. She talked to people who worked at Ashanti Holdings. What she found surprised everyone. Victor had made up the whole story. There was no leaked information. Victor had invented false evidence. He had planted fake emails that made it look like Kofi had done something wrong. But Kofi had done nothing. The truth was something else entirely. Amma called Kofi to her office. She showed him all the evidence. "Your father-in-law was afraid of you," Amma explained. "He saw that you were smart. He saw that you had good ideas. He saw that people listened to you. He was afraid that one day you would take his power away. So he decided to destroy you first." Kofi felt anger and sadness at the same time. "But I never wanted his power. I just wanted to do good work. I just wanted to help the company succeed." "I know," Amma said. "But Victor is the kind of man who cannot believe that. He thinks everyone wants power. He thinks everyone wants to take from him. So he took from you first." Meanwhile, Bukola and the other 21 people who had left the company were planning something big. They met at different places in Lagos. They talked about starting their own company. They talked about what they could do together. They were all talented. Together they were very powerful. One day Bukola called Kofi and told him about their idea. "We want to start a new company," she said. "We want to call it Nexus Africa. It will be a company that helps businesses grow. We all have different skills. Together we can do anything. And Kofi, we want you to lead us. We want you to be the person who runs the company." Kofi was shocked. "Me? Why me?" "Because we believe in you," Bukola said. "Because you believed in us. Because you are the best leader we know." They started meeting with investors. Investors are people who have money and want to help new companies start. When Kofi and the 22 people told their story, the investors were very interested. They heard about how 22 talented people had left a big company to follow one leader. They heard about loyalty and hard work and believing in each other. They saw something special. One big investor, a woman named Mrs. Okafor, was very excited about the idea. She had money and power in Lagos. She believed in Kofi and his team. "I will give you money to start this company," she said. "I believe you will be very successful." With Mrs. Okafor's money, Nexus Africa became real. They rented an office in Victoria Island, not far from where Ashanti Holdings was. Kofi got a desk. Bukola got a desk. Tun got a desk. Amara got a desk. All 22 of them had desks and computers and everything they needed to work. But Kofi's personal life was still broken. Zara was still at her parents' house. She would not answer his calls. She would not read his messages. One day, Kofi sat alone in the new Nexus Africa office. Everyone else had gone home. He was sitting in the dark, looking at his computer screen. The screen showed an email from Amma. She had sent him all the evidence that proved he was innocent. She was going to take Victor to court. She was going to show the judge that Victor had lied. But Kofi did not care about that anymore. He cared about Zara. He cared about his marriage. He opened his phone and called Zara again. This time she answered. "Zara, please listen to me. I am innocent. My lawyer has found proof. Victor made everything up. He lied to you. Please come home. Please talk to me." There was silence on the phone for a long time. Then Zara spoke, but her voice was very tired. "I do not know what to believe anymore, Kofi. I do not know if you are telling the truth or if my father is telling the truth. My head is spinning. Everything is confused." "Then come with me," Kofi said. "Come to my office. See what we are building. See that I am doing something good. See that I am not the man Victor said I am." "I cannot," Zara said. "Not yet. I need more time." The phone went dead again. Kofi put his head on his desk. The office was very dark. The city lights of Lagos shone through the windows. Outside, the city was alive and moving. But inside the office, Kofi felt very alone. He thought about everything that had happened. He had lost his job. He had lost his home with Zara. He had lost his father-in-law's respect. But he had gained something else. He had gained 22 loyal friends. He had gained a new company that was starting to grow. He had gained the respect of investors and business leaders. But none of that mattered if he did not have Zara. None of that mattered if his marriage was broken. Kofi sat in the dark office for a long time. He did not know what would happen next. He did not know if Zara would come back to him. He did not know if his marriage could survive this. He only knew that he had to keep fighting. He had to keep building Nexus Africa. He had to prove that he was a good man. He had to prove that Victor was wrong about him. Outside, the Lagos night was deep and dark. But somewhere in that darkness there was still hope. Somewhere there was still a chance that everything could be fixed. Kofi just had to believe in that chance. He just had to hold on. The first year of Nexus Africa was very hard. Kofi and his 22 people worked every day. They worked nights. They worked weekends. They did not make much money at first. Some days Kofi was not sure they would survive. But they kept going. They believed in each other. They believed in what they were building. Mrs. Okafor, the investor who had given them money, came to see them 1 month after they started. She walked around the small office. She looked at all the people working hard at their desks. She saw Bukola making plans for new clients. She saw Tun talking to business owners on the phone. She saw Amara creating new ideas for different companies. Mrs. Okafor smiled. "This is good," she said to Kofi. "This is very good. You have something special here. People work hard because they love what they do. Not because they are afraid. That is rare. That is very rare." After 3 months, something wonderful happened. A big company called them and asked for help. The company was having problems. They needed someone to fix their business. Kofi and his team worked on the problem for 2 weeks. They found out what was wrong. They made a plan to fix it. The company's business started to get better. Much better. The company told other companies about Nexus Africa. Those companies called Kofi. They asked for help too. Soon, Nexus Africa had many clients. They were making money now. Real money. Enough money to pay everyone. Enough money to grow. By the end of the first year, Nexus Africa had 50 clients. 50 different companies that trusted Kofi and his team. The small office became too small. They moved to a bigger office. They hired new people. They opened a second team. Then a third team. But the best thing happened in the courtroom. Amma, the lawyer, had been working on the case against Victor for many months. She had all the evidence. She had all the proof that Victor had made up the lies about Kofi. The judge looked at all the papers. The judge looked at all the fake emails that Victor had created. The judge was very angry. The judge said Victor had done something very wrong. The judge said Victor had lied in his company. The judge said Victor had hurt an innocent man. The judge said Victor must tell everyone the truth. The judge said Victor must say that he was sorry. The judge said Victor must give Kofi money to make up for what he did. Victor's face turned gray when he heard the judge's words. He had lost. He had lost in front of all the important people in Lagos. Everyone knew now that he was a liar. Everyone knew that he had tried to destroy his own son-in-law with false stories. But that was not all. The board of directors at Ashanti Holdings heard about what Victor had done. They were shocked. They were angry. They did not want a man like Victor running their company. A man who would lie. A man who would hurt innocent people. A man who was willing to hurt his own family to keep power. 3 weeks later, the board forced Victor to resign. Victor had to leave Ashanti Holdings. He had to leave the company that he had built. He had to leave the position that he had held for so long. After that, Ashanti Holdings began to fall apart. Richard, who had gotten the CFO job, was not good at it. He made many mistakes. Other good people left the company. The company that had been so strong became weak. On the day Victor had to make a public statement admitting he was wrong, Kofi was in his office at Nexus Africa. Bukola came running to him. "Turn on the television," she said. "Victor is on the news." Kofi turned on the television. There was Victor sitting at a table with many cameras pointing at him. Victor looked old. Victor looked tired. Victor looked broken. Victor spoke into the microphones and said, "I made a false accusation against Kofi Mensah. I said he leaked company secrets. This was not true. I made this up. I'm sorry for what I did. I was wrong." The words came out like they were killing him. It was hard for Victor to say them. But he said them. He admitted the truth in front of all of Lagos. Kofi watched this. He should have felt happy. He should have felt like he had won. But he only felt sad. He felt sad for Victor. He felt sad for what pride can do to a man. He felt sad that his father-in-law had become this broken person. That same evening, Kofi's phone rang. It was a number he knew. It was Zara. His heart jumped. He had not heard her voice in so long. "Kofi," Zara said. She was crying. "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I saw my father on the news. I understand now. I understand that he lied. I understand that you are innocent. I understand that I was wrong to leave you. I'm sorry. I am so sorry." Kofi felt tears coming to his eyes. "Zara, come home. Please come home." "I am already outside your office," Zara said. "I am in the car. I am coming now." 20 minutes later, Zara was in Kofi's arms. They held each other for a long time without saying anything. There was too much to say. So they just held each other and cried. "I should have believed you," Zara said. "You were caught between your father and me," Kofi said. "That was not easy. I understand." They went home together that night. Their penthouse apartment was exactly as they had left it. But it felt different now. It felt like home again. 2 months later, Kofi and Zara renewed their vows. They had a big ceremony with all their friends. All 22 people from Nexus Africa came. Mrs. Okafor came. Lawyer Amma came. It was a beautiful day. Zara wore a white dress. Kofi wore a dark suit. They stood in front of a pastor and promised to love each other forever. This time their promises were stronger. This time they understood what love really meant. After the ceremony, Zara asked Kofi, "What happens now?" Kofi smiled. "Now we build our future together." And they did. Nexus Africa grew faster than anyone expected. After 2 years, they opened an office in Accra, Ghana. After 3 years, they opened an office in Nairobi, Kenya. After 4 years, they opened an office in Johannesburg, South Africa. They were not just a Lagos company anymore. They were an African company. 5 years after Nexus Africa started, something amazing happened. A big international company wanted to buy Nexus Africa. They offered Kofi and his team $250 million. That meant each person's part of the company was worth more than $10 million. But Kofi said no to the offer. "Why do you say no?" Mrs. Okafor asked him. "That is a lot of money." "Because we are not finished yet," Kofi said. "We have so much more to do. We want to help African businesses grow. We want to help African people succeed. We want to show the world that Africa is full of talent and power. We are just at the beginning." So Nexus Africa stayed independent. But its value grew even more. By the end of 5 years, the company was worth $50 million. Kofi owned part of it. Zara worked there now too, running the charity programs that help poor people in African cities. All 22 original people still worked there. They were all rich now. They were all successful. One day, Kofi saw a newspaper article. It was about Victor. Victor was living in a small house outside of Lagos now. He had lost most of his money. Ashanti Holdings had been sold to another company. Victor had nothing. He had nobody. His pride had cost him everything. Kofi felt sad when he read this. He thought about calling Victor. He thought about helping him. But he decided not to. Some men have to learn their lessons alone. Instead, Kofi went home to Zara. He held his wife in his arms. He looked out the window at the lights of Lagos. He thought about how far he had come. From being fired and humiliated to building a company worth $50 million. From having his marriage broken to renewing his vows with the woman he loved. He had not done it alone. He had done it with his 22 friends who believed in him. He had done it with his wife who came back to him. He had done it with Mrs. Okafor who believed in his dream. He had done it with Lawyer Amma who fought for his truth. That was real success. Not money. Not power. But people who believed in you. People who stood with you. People who loved you. That was everything. 5 years had passed since that terrible day in the boardroom. 5 years since Kofi was fired. 5 years since 22 people walked out together. Now, Nexus Africa had grown into something much bigger than anyone had imagined. The company had 512 employees. They worked in 4 different countries. They helped hundreds of businesses every single year. The main office was still in Lagos, but it was much bigger now. It was a beautiful building with green plants and big windows. People worked happily there. They worked because they believed in what they were doing, not because they were afraid. That was the difference between Nexus Africa and other companies. Bukola was now the head of operations. Tund was the head of marketing. Amara, the young woman who had stood up first when Kofi was fired, was now the vice president of innovation. She ran a whole team that created new ideas and new ways to help businesses. All 22 of the original people had become leaders in the company. They had all become successful and rich. But more importantly, they had become part of something meaningful. But Kofi's favorite project was not about making money. It was about helping young African people start their own businesses. He created a program called the African Leaders Program. Young people could come to this program for free. They could learn about business. They could learn about leadership. They could learn how to start their own companies. Kofi taught some of the classes himself even though he was very busy. One day a young man came to the program. His name was Chukwu. He was 23 years old and he had a big dream. He wanted to start a technology company that would help farmers in Nigeria. Kofi listened to his idea. Kofi believed in him. Kofi helped him with his plan. 2 years later, Chukwu's company was successful. He had helped thousands of farmers. He had created 50 jobs. He came back to Kofi and said, "Thank you. You believed in me when nobody else did. You gave me a chance. Now I want to help other people like you helped me." This was what made Kofi happy. Not money. Not power. But knowing that he was helping other people build their dreams. Zara had also found her own way to make a difference. She started a charity called Women of Africa. This charity helped poor women in West Africa. It taught them skills. It gave them money to start small businesses. It helped them send their children to school. Zara worked very hard on this charity. She traveled to different countries. She met with women and listened to their stories. She cried with them. She laughed with them. She helped them believe in themselves. The charity had helped 5,000 women so far. 5,000 women had better lives because of what Zara was doing. One afternoon, Kofi was in his office working on some papers. His secretary came in and said, "Mr. Kofi, there is someone here to see you. He says his name is Victor Adeyemi. He says it is very important." Kofi's heart stopped. Victor. His father-in-law. After all these years, Victor was here to see him. "Send him in," Kofi said quietly. Victor walked into the office. But this was not the same Victor from 5 years ago. This Victor was much older. His hair was all white. His face was lined and tired. He moved slowly like his body hurt. He was wearing a simple shirt and simple pants. He did not look like a powerful billionaire anymore. He looked like an old man who had lost everything. "Hello, Kofi," Victor said. His voice was quiet and weak. "Victor, please sit down," Kofi said. He pointed to a chair. Victor sat down. For a long time he did not say anything. He just looked at his hands. Then finally he spoke. "I came to apologize," Victor said. "I know it is too late. I know that words cannot fix what I did. But I need to say it anyway. I'm sorry, Kofi. I'm so sorry for what I did to you. I'm sorry for lying. I'm sorry for destroying your career. I'm sorry for hurting my daughter. I am sorry for everything." Kofi did not say anything. He was listening. "I was a very proud man," Victor continued. "I thought I was the best. I thought nobody could be better than me. When I saw you being successful, when I saw people respecting you, I was afraid. I was afraid that you would take my power away. So I tried to destroy you. I did terrible things. I lied. I created false evidence. I turned my own daughter against her husband. And for what? For nothing. I lost everything anyway." Victor's eyes were filled with tears now. "I lost my company. I lost my money. I lost my respect. I lost everything. But the worst thing is I lost you and Zara. I lost my family. And it is all my fault." Kofi stood up and walked around his desk. He put his hand on Victor's shoulder. "Victor, I forgive you." Victor looked up at Kofi with surprise in his eyes. "You forgive me? Just like that?" "Not just like that," Kofi said. "It took me a long time to understand. It took me a long time to not be angry. But yes, I forgive you. Because holding on to anger only hurts me. It does not hurt you. And I have too much to be happy about to spend my time being angry." Victor cried like a baby. He cried for a long time. He cried for all the years of pride. He cried for all the hurt he had caused. He cried for the years he had lost. Kofi and Victor did not become close friends again. Some things cannot be repaired completely. But they made peace. They understood each other. They both knew that pride was a dangerous thing. They both knew that family was more important than money or power. Victor started to come to family dinners sometimes. Zara was happy to see her father becoming human again. She was happy to see him learning that love was more important than pride. 2 years later, Nexus Africa was celebrating its 5th anniversary. They planned a big gala in Accra, Ghana. People came from all over Africa. Business leaders came. Government leaders came. Young entrepreneurs came. It was a beautiful evening. The sun was setting over Accra, turning the sky orange and pink. Kofi stood on the stage with Zara beside him. In the audience he could see Bukola, Tund, Amara, and all the other original 22 people. He could see Mrs. Okafor, the investor who had believed in him. He could see Lawyer Amma. He could see young people from his African Leaders program who had started their own successful companies. And sitting in the back he could see Victor. Victor was watching with quiet respect. Kofi took the microphone. He looked at Zara. Then he looked at all the faces in the room. Then he spoke. 5 years ago I was fired. I was humiliated. I was told that I was a traitor. I was told that I was not good enough. I lost my job. I lost my home. I lost my wife for a little while. I thought my life was over. I thought everything was finished. But something amazing happened. 22 people believed in me. They stood up for me. They walked out with me. We built something together. We built Nexus Africa. But we built more than a company. We built a family. We built a community. We built a place where people could grow and become their best selves. Today I want to tell all of you something. It does not matter if someone fires you. It does not matter if someone tells you that you are not good enough. It does not matter if someone tries to destroy you. Because when they do these things, they are not destroying your future. They are clearing the path for you to build something even better. That is not revenge. That is redemption. That is the real victory. I am standing here today not because I won against Victor. I am standing here because I chose to build instead of destroy. I chose to believe in people instead of giving up on them. I chose love instead of hate. And that is the message I want to give to all the young entrepreneurs in this room. When life knocks you down, do not stay down. Get up. Build something. Believe in people. Help others. Make the world better. That is how you win. That is how you succeed. That is how you find redemption. The room erupted in applause. People stood up and clapped. They clapped for 5 minutes. They clapped for the journey. They clapped for the 22 people. They clapped for Kofi and Zara. They clapped for the dream that had come true. Kofi looked at all the faces clapping. He saw happiness. He saw hope. He saw belief in the future. And he knew that everything was going to be okay. Everything was going to be more than okay. It was going to be beautiful.